This is Newborough Beach on the south coast of Anglesey. Its west end leading to Llandwyn Island and two lighthouses that mark the entrance to the Menai Straits. This is a place of interest for romantics, geologists, historians, the devout, in fact anyone who appreciates a good view. With blue seas, quiet roads and forest trails, it's a perfect place for swim, bike and run. Welcome to the 2016 Sandman Triathlon, powered by Sunto. The Sandman is the third and final event in the Adventure Triathlon series. It all started back in May in Llyn Padarn, the Slate Man. One of the toughest triathlons on the calendar. A cold swim, a long bike, and then the Denarwick Quarry, one of the toughest runs you'll come across at any stage of the season. From the Slate Man, they then moved on to the Snowdonia Triathlon Festival. What a race we had there. We thought the battle would be between Alex Foster and Paul Hawkins. It turned out to be a sprint finish in the end between Paul Hawkins and James Hockin. Hawkins, who had a very good lead at the start of the run, had to produce something special in the last 100 metres to hold off Hockin. A dramatic finish then. But Paul Hawkins has not made the journey to Anglesey. That means that James Hockin is in a very good position to take the series title. Well, we're hoping for a little of the same. There are one or two big names missing from the start sheet in the Sandman, but nearly 1,000 athletes have made the journey. It's going to be a tremendous race, and there are some very strong newcomers as well, so we're looking forward to some exciting action. Brian Fogerty is back for more of the Sandman, having finished 7th in last year's race.
I enjoyed the race, I loved it. It's a really well organised race. I didn't really feel I did myself justice last year because I kind of lost it early on the swim. I was start of contention, so hopefully I can be a bit closer to the lead bunch.
Tom Pickering, another man who's hoping to be in that lead bunch. He's certainly capable of going under 2:40.
I'm hoping to try and finish in the top 10 because after the success of the Snowdon Triathlon, I'm trying to keep it consistent and be up there with the big guys.
Another familiar face on the Adventure Triathlon series, Alex Foster, who's consistently second, third or fourth. He had a great outing in Snowdonia and will be hoping for more of the same.
Last race we got at Snowdonia Festival. It left me and James chasing Paul, and it came down right to the finish. It makes for exciting racing.
Third in the Slate Man, second in the Snowdonia Triathlon Festival, James Hockin. He could well take the series title today, but surely that adds just that little bit of tension.
Not too much, and I tend not to think about it. I take it as another race. Just go out there and enjoy it, and hopefully can win the series. That'll be a big achievement.
So lined up, ready to go, the elite men. Keep an eye on Alex Foster. He's one of the best swimmers in the group, and he's got a very good start. The blue wetsuit belonging to Fogerty. Now, swimming is not his strong point, but if he can stay within a couple of minutes of the leaders, he'll certainly be a contender for the win today. Foster out front, competing with Greg Cherry, I think it is, alongside him. Those two certainly starting to open up a gap in the early stages. 1,000 metres in the water. This is a triathlon that suits those who are strong on the bike. Some 83% of this race is on the bike. Now, if you take a standard Olympic distance, that comes all the way down to 77.5%. That is very significant indeed. Alex Foster looking strong, first out of the water in the Snowdonia Triathlon, And today it's a question of whether he can produce something special on the bike. The women's race, the third wave off. There's Helen Talbot, one of the favourites, but she did race in the sprint yesterday. Dorothy Livia-Bella, she's been on the podium twice. Can she win it at 47?
Third time that I've done it. I've had a third place and a second place, but who knows what's going to happen today. I'll give it my best and see what I can do, but yeah, it's a great race.
And with Susie Richards not racing here today, that means Wendy McBride has a really good chance of taking the Adventure Triathlon series, and that will give her a big boost for the next season.
First time I've done them. I did the first one as just a bit of a test run because I've not raced for 5 years through injury. Did the first one, I thought I've got to do the other two. It was just so good.
So the women lined up, and there are one or two veteran swimmers in the field who may just show the youngsters how to do it. Stella Farah, one of those. Livia-Bella, a good swimmer indeed, and we see Foster. He managed to hold on to that first place. Greg Cherry in second place, some 20-25 metres behind. But it's Foster who's going to be first up to the bike racks and may well be first out onto the road. This is where he's got to start working. It's a 60-kilometre bike ride leading into that final 10k run. You've got to push hard on the bike, but you have to save something for the sandy trails of the Newborough Forest. It saps the energy, and if you start the run without any energy, you are in dire trouble. We've seen plenty of positions change in the last stage here. There's Greg Cherry. Alex Foster not rushing proceedings in the transition area. Can't afford to give away fractions of a second. And just looking back in the water, they've built up a 30-45 second lead over the second group, these two. And there's no sign of Fogerty as yet. He's expected to be at least 4 minutes slower than the best swimmers. Just looking at the times for Alex Foster, just over the 13-minute mark for the 1,000-metre swim. That's not bad in the conditions that they head out there in the sea today. Well, here's James Hockin. He can pretty much match Foster on the bike, but he's a better runner, no doubt about that. He too needs a good bike ride. It's an interesting situation today with so many of the stronger bikers being slower in the water. Tom Higgins, we've got Lewis Eccleston, Brian Fogerty, who we've already mentioned. None of them are super quick in the water. Now looking for the fastest lady, and I suspect it may well be Stella Farah. And if that's the case, that's one in the cap for the over 50s. She has done superbly well. She's not as quick on the bike or on the run as she used to be. And here she is, out of the water. She's first lady, and followed by Rachel Hall, the 34-year-old who's based in Manchester now. Looks like Becky Schofield just a few seconds behind. Those two should have a really good battle out on the road. And it's all to do with the speed in the transition, and it's Becky Schofield who is fastest through T1, first onto the bike, and gives herself a little bit of an advantage early on. Dorothy Livia-Bella, who we saw earlier on, looking for her third successive podium in this race. And now we go to the men's race. Greg Cherry in second place, Foster leading at the moment. And this is James Hockin. Tall figure, very good runner. He's had a reasonable swim. Looking at the margins, just over 40 seconds behind Alex Foster in the water, and he was some 35 behind Greg Cherry. He's made that up already. Cherry's about to be demoted to third as James Hockin, who finished second in Snowdonia, moves into second place in the Sandman. Now he chases Alex Foster, but Hockin knows the field well enough. He knows the danger men are behind. What he doesn't know is how far behind they are at the moment. Where is Tom Higgins? Where's Lewis Eccleston? Two men who are very strong on the bike. And of course Brian Fogerty, whose trump card is certainly the bike ride. Alex Foster, is it going to be his day? A win in the Adventure Triathlon Series, long overdue.
No different pressure than I put on myself. You want to win every race you enter, but this race attracts some good people, so Should be a good race. I'm excited.
Foster has a competitive run. He's got to stay strong if and when he gets overtaken on the bike. There are men moving quicker than him at the moment, and here is one of them, Tom Higgins, who has gone past James Hockin. He's into second place, and I've got him going at roughly 40.5 kilometres an hour. That puts him 2 kilometres an hour faster than Alex Foster. The writing surely is on the wall. Tom Higgins is going to go into the lead fairly shortly. He's closing down on Foster. Will Foster be able to respond? Will he be able to raise his game and give himself a chance of taking the title when it comes to the 10k run at the end? Well, now you're going to see the margins. Through goes Higgins. He makes it look easy. A tactical burst certainly, but no response whatsoever from Alex Foster at the moment. We have a new race leader. It's Tom Higgins. He lost time in the water. He could lose a little bit of time on the run. He needs every second he can gain.
Hopefully I'll capitalise on the bike today. It's a really bike-friendly course, so it's a long bike. So I'll be hoping to put some distance into the guys up at the front of the race there. I'll be coming out the swim probably a little bit far back, so I'll need some making up to do.
Well, he certainly will need a bit of time, get some fuel on board, and he's got a clean road behind him at the moment, and he's not going to see anyone. But I can tell you that just round the corner, Alex Foster still in second place, but he's being chased hard by Lewis Eccleston, who has gained a lot of time. Eccleston 15:45 in the water, Alex Foster 13:10, so Eccleston has made good ground, and surely he's about to move into second place. And we're also hearing that Brian Fogerty is moving up through the ranks, having been outside the top 30 out of the water. So Fogerty's got work to do. Eccleston's about to go into second place, but it's still Tom Higgins who leads. Well, what a situation we've got here. Higgins leading, Eccleston 2, Foster 3, Hawkins still in 4, but Brian Fogerty coming up fast, having had a slow swim, but a better swim than he's had in the past. This is Lewis Eccleston, again looking nervously over the shoulder. What can he see? Well, he can certainly see that Foster's disappearing in the background and is no danger. Here comes Brian Fogerty. He's now gone past James Hockin. He is absolutely flying. Our speedos have him averaging 42 kilometres an hour. That is class cycling from the cousin of Carl Fogerty. This man doesn't need any CCs. He's got the power in his legs, and he knows who he's hunting.
You know who they are, of course you do. And I know hopefully how the dynamic will work with the better swimmers, and if I can get some good power through on the bike, hopefully I'll catch them and make it interesting.
Well, this is one of the men he's chasing, Lewis Eccleston, who finished in 8th last year. Fogerty was a lowly 7th. Those two certainly big rivals, but there's no doubt that Fogerty is here to win it as he moves up into second.
I mean, to win it, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to say otherwise.
Well, what a race he's having, no doubt about his intentions. Remember, he was 32nd out of the water. He's gained 30 places. I guess that's the only good thing about being a slow swimmer, is you get to overtake all those who aren't as good on the bike. But he has not caught Tom Higgins quite yet. Still a margin between first and second. It's Higgins leading, Fogerty in second. This is going all the way to T2. Welcome back to the 2016 Sandman Triathlon, powered by Sunto. All sorts of fireworks going off in the men's race, and the women's race is tight as well. Hall and Schofield only 10 seconds apart in the water, and they're one behind the other here on the bike ride. Schofield leading at the moment. Rachel Hall in the red vest, up out of the saddle, looks as though she's going for the overtake. Well, those two are going to be going hammer and tongs all the way through to T2. Rachel Hall just opening up a little bit of a gap, nothing more than 20 seconds. She may need a little bit more come the run. It's a beautiful course here in Anglesey, quiet roads, one big anti-clockwise loop to negotiate. And still Tom Higgins leading the men's race. We saw him earlier on going past Alex Foster as though he was standing still. That long seat post. but I'm not sure he knows what's coming. It's coming in the form of Brian Fogerty, who is closing fast, down on the aero bars, and the margin now just some 100 metres. The time difference in the water earlier on today, 2 minutes 40. That is how much Brian Fogerty has gained on the bike so far. Now, he will not want Tom Higgins to tuck in behind him. No drafting allowed, but having someone just in front of you still helps, even if they're 12 metres clear. Fogerty has done the damage in no time at all, and he comes back down into the Newborough Forest, heading for T2, and he's got himself a margin of some 25 seconds. Now this is where he cannot afford to lose a single second. He's not the quickest on the run. Be interesting to see how he does compared to last year. So Fogerty's first away. Tom Higgins looking very relaxed in the transition area. I hope that's not a sign that he's resigned to finishing in second place. We will see. And already they hit the sand. This is where the running gets tough. Lots of single track, lots of running along the beach, a few dunes to negotiate. It's a really tough run after a 60-kilometre bike ride. But Fogerty looking very, very cool indeed. 7th in the UK Ironman this year. Third away, Lewis Eccleston. And now the two men who fought it out in the Snowdonia Triathlon. Alex Foster on the right, James Hocking on the left. They leave together. Hocking, certainly from what we saw up in Llanberis, is the quicker of the two runners. Tom Higgins led for some 35 kilometres on the bike. Just overtaken in the last 5 or so by this man, Brian Fogerty. Fogerty, who's heading to Kona and the Ironman World Championships this year, hoping to go under 9 hours. Certainly with the bike speed he showed today, that should be possible. And he may have to if he wants to beat the fastest woman, Daniela Reif, expected to go well under 9 hours this year. Well, what a race we have. Great terrain as well, very varied. I'm not sure bare feet is the answer, but I suspect there's a blister that makes shoes uncomfortable. And that's going to need some cleaning come the end of this run on the beach. Here's one of the steeper sections, and it has slowed Tom Higgins dramatically. He's got to get those long legs flowing if he wants to catch Brian Fogerty.
You're working all the time, and even on the finish, you're running along the beach, up over a sand dune. So it's just constant taking it out of your legs, but it's just about holding on.
The painful final stage of a triathlon, and some will be suffering more than others, but no one's going to find it easy today. In the women's race, Rachel Hall has opened up a decent gap now and still looks comfortable, not pushing the pace too hard. She looked really good in May when she won the Wilmslow, and she's kept her form. Brian Fogerty looking fantastic. Shortens the stride, tries to keep light steps as he works his way over the looser sand. Good technique. And looking for the tracks of the quad bike. That's good, intelligent running from Fogerty. Nothing to be seen over his shoulder. He has pulled away successfully, pulled away from Tom Higgins, and Lewis Eccleston not really making ground. A margin of some 1.5 to 2 minutes between Higgins and Eccleston at the moment, and so it's going to be a comfortable win for Fogerty along the beach for the final stretch. A dramatic finish to this Sandman Triathlon. 2013, it was Ollie Simon who took this title. 14 and 15, dominated by Ewan Brown. But the 2016 title is going to Brian Fogerty, and he's won it on the bike. A superb bike leg today, 1:26.13. He's almost 3 minutes quicker than anyone else on the bike, and he did the damage on that middle section. It's not been an easy run, but he's still going to be under 38 minutes for the 10K. And in these sandy conditions, that is very, very impressive. A full-time insurance broker, part-time triathlete, a man who wants to reverse those roles, and with results like today, he may well be able to go pro. Great run from him, and so much better than last year.
Managed to win it, so it couldn't have gone much better. It's always what you want to do, but struggled with a swim. I had to really work hard on the bike to get amongst them, and just run as hard as I could. Obviously my fitness come through, and I managed to win it against some really good lads. So yeah, I'm really made up to win that, and it's a great event. What an event.
Tom Higgins coming into the last section, 100 metres or so to go for him. He held the lead for a long time on the bike, but he's never really threatened Fogerty on the run. Their times for the final stage, some 30 seconds apart. Fogerty getting the advantage, but Tom Higgins has to be pleased with second place.
Stan is relentless. It is unforgivingly relentless. Yeah, it's you don't get a second let up. So if you've got any weaknesses on the run, it will find you out. Of course, like that. Yeah.
Third place goes to Lewis Eccleston, a former footballer, only been doing triathlon 5 years or so, has to be happy with a podium. Ian Robertson in fourth, just ahead of James Hockin, who was so impressive in the Snowdonia Triathlon. Not quite sure what's happened today, lost too much ground on the bike to challenge. Well, let's have a look at the results. Fogerty with that win, 2:23.58. That's really impressive. Higgins, Eccleston, 2 and 3. Robertson, 4, and James Hockin. That means he's had a second, a third, and a fifth. And that is good enough to win the Adventure Triathlon Series for 2016. Well, another great day out. The wind picking up. The swimmers will be glad they got that section done in slightly calmer conditions. Here's Becky Schofield, 35-year-old physiotherapist. She might need to find another physio just to help her recover from today's efforts. She's in second. It's Rachel Hall who's going to take the win. Hall broke away halfway through the bike ride, and she's held the lead ever since. It's been a good performance from her. Winning time, 2:46.22.
Loved the swim, rough conditions, got stuck in. I think I came out of the water up the front, which is unusual for me. Bike, really enjoyed it. A tough middle section with the headwind, but just got my head down and got on with it. Came out of transition on the run neck and neck with, I think, Becky Schofield, and then just had to get my head down and heard her breathing behind me, and then gradually she dropped off, and I thought, okay, fine, just settle and then enjoy the rest of it. It was really nice. Great race.
And here's Helen Talbot, who, remember, raced yesterday in the sprint event. She's going to win the weekender, and she gets third place today. Another good result from her. So Hall, Schofield, Talbot, the three on the podium. Dorothy Livia Bella, a second, third and a fourth. That elusive first place. Will it be next year at the age of 48? Wendy McBride off the top 5 today, but she wins the Women's Series in 2016. So 2 new series winners this year. The Adventure Triathlon Series, once again, providing spectacular destinations, really demanding courses and tough competition. And it all starts again in May 2017. We'll see you then.